All right, it is midday, so we'll get started. Welcome, everybody. As I said, it's Megan Twentyman, the brand manager, and with me on the line today is Matt Carey.
Hello.
And the purpose of today's webinar is to have a look at Update 6, which is now in Beta 2, and just a couple of the key things that we're quite excited about around what's coming in Update 6. We do expect the update to go live in the next week or so. So we've had Alpha, Beta, and Beta 2, so they're just still ironing a few things out, but we're getting pretty close. So Matt's just going to walk us through a couple of exciting features that we're happy to see today, and then from there we will take your questions at the end. So thanks, Matt.
Awesome, thanks Megan. Welcome everyone to another bite-sized webinar. So we're just going to be looking at a couple of key points today that has come in Update 6 Beta 2. And these are the long-awaited Debian 10 support, which I'll discuss shortly. We have some new hosting options from 3CX as well. We've had some hot fixes for Chrome and Edge 2, and of course the usual bug fixes, which you can always find in the changelog. So Debian 10 support, we've been waiting for this and it's been requested for quite some time. It is now currently in testing. When Update 6 goes live, we expect the pre-built ISO to be based on Debian 10. Now this is exciting for people that are utilizing the latest generation of the Intel NUCs, the little boxes. So if you do have the little physical appliance on site and you're not actually virtualizing. And the key thing around this is the network adapter that the latest generation uses isn't actually supported in Debian 9. There is a workaround to get it to work, but it's a little bit cumbersome. But in Debian 10 it is supported. So that is very exciting for our on-prem installers. Also very exciting, we've had a lot of feedback around this as well, is because of this new support, we will have the ability to use the Raspberry Pi 4. Now, Pis, when they first came out, we were using them as session border controllers. You can actually spin up an entire fairly basic 3CX system on them as well now. And the reason I mentioned that this is exciting, excuse me, is because it's getting harder and harder and harder to find the Raspberry Pi 3s which are currently officially supported. So when this actually comes out, the very latest Raspberry Pis will have that support in place, which is extremely exciting, especially for when we get into talking about our hosting options. So currently 3CX are testing out their hosting capabilities. So how it's looking at the moment while they're working out costs and the like and stability is currently for reseller partners with your NFR keys, there is going to be free hosting available until the end of the year. So this is your 3CX sitting in the cloud. With that comes a pre-activated instance manager, which is tied to your partner portal. So a lot of you have already played with the instance manager. You've got some remote capabilities there for doing upgrades, monitoring, and just checking a few things out. It has an automatic offsite backup in place as well. It'll automatically choose the best location available, and currently for us, that's Australia. And to have a look at this, if you're not using your NFR on-prem already, is to go into your partner portal and you should see the ability in there to host with 3CX listed against the key. And of course, pricing is still to be confirmed. So continuing on, there are a few limitations currently with the new hosting plan, and that's just to make sure everything's running and is stable. So because 3CX are taking care of all the hard work, they've removed access for network settings, instance manager because it's automatic, the parameter table because this is a vanilla PBX, and the license key tab because they're handling that with your NFR key. Also locked at this stage is your recording quota. So there'll be a specific amount of space that is assigned in the hosted instance. The local path for the recording and the voicemail quota as well, because this all ties into the total disk space consumed by the instance. There isn't a web terminal at this stage. custom IP phone templates currently aren't supported. Again, it is a very vanilla 3CX. There isn't the CallFlow Designer service at this stage, and that goes the same for scriptable IVRs and high availability. Because they're looking after the inner workings of the machine, there currently isn't root access, and probably most importantly is there isn't VPN access at this stage. So when you are deploying this key in the cloud, you will need a session border controller to be able to have phones sitting remotely. There hasn't been any comments on stun, but stun is sort of becoming an aging technology now, with the focus on using an SBC just because it's simpler and it requires less routing at the end user site firewall. And mentioned it was short and sweet. That's basically it for now. Megan, would you like to add anything?
I think the key thing there is that 3CX are rolling out this hosting option, which will become available when Update 6 goes live. They are working on this as a rolling approach. So at the moment, your NFR keys are able to be hosted for free, and they're now rolling that out to the trials being able to be hosted for free for the first 12 months. So your NFRs are free, but the actual licenses of 3CX themselves will be for the first 12 months. We believe we're still waiting on more information to come through, and then there will be a chargeable service to continue that hosting. We don't have any indication of those charges, and they will not be released until the end of this year. But the plan is that throughout the rest of 2020, they will roll this out into the trials will be the next thing to be hosted, and then the live licenses as you sell them. The limitations are there purely from a security perspective from 3CX's side. If there were features and functions there that Matt was discussing that you think, oh, I really want to be able to take care of that myself, then you need to look at how you're going to host it, whether it be on a NUC or locally hosted here out of your own data center or a data center that you're using, and what functionality you need to be able to use. As Matt said, the SBC will become a very key component in that functionality, and with the ability of the new Debian 10 coming, you'll be able to look at a cost-effective SBC using a Raspberry Pi 4. So there's good news and good news. So it's really, just a case of us now waiting with bated breath. One thing that I picked up with some of the reading that I did, and Matt, you might like to talk to this a little bit more, is that the current update 5 doesn't work with old Windows Server, I think it was 2012 and beyond, and before.
That's correct.
So a lot of customers are still using Windows Server 2012, which means that they can't actually run update 5 on that. So giving them the option to move across to Debian when it becomes available in this update is a good option for them, because obviously upgrading your server edition has a lot more consequences than just 3CX. So that's just one thing that I did pick up in some of the reading that I did. So if there's any questions, please pop those in the chat. We'd love to try and answer those for you. The information is still a little limited, but we will get more information. We're hoping that this update will go live this coming weekend, which is a pretty standard timing from 3CX. It's usually on a Friday night, just when we're finished for the day. So Matt and I will be watching keenly over the weekend to see if it does go live, and to check the change log for any other significant bits there. The other thing is there was a hotfix for update 5, which was to do with Chrome and Edge. So that is available as well.
So we've got a question. Any word on the Raspberry Pi 4 and the number of extensions it will handle? No, unfortunately, not at this stage. We do expect for the 3CX website to update its documentation when this update comes out. So I would definitely say stay tuned for that.
Generally speaking, when it comes to the Raspberry Pi, it's been up to about an 8 simultaneous call in the past, but with the Raspberry Pi 4, we're not sure where that will sit. But as I say, the other option with your Raspberry Pi 4 will be to use it as your USB-C.
Definitely. Another question, will the NFR hosting remain free after the first year?
We believe so, but we have not had full confirmation. The reading that I have had and the information I've had to date is that it will be part of the 3CX partner program, but they also indicated in the same announcement email that they're planning to make some changes to the 3CX partner program in 2021. I have no indication of what that will be. The feedback that we are sharing with 3CX is that due to the changes that had to happen with COVID-19, with no demotions in the middle of the year, it's actually working out way better for our New Zealand partners here, because you're just targeted with that annual revenue to keep your partnership levels. So we have fed that back. We've also fed back any questions and queries we've had on the partner program, in the hope that getting all those types of queries will enable them to take those into consideration when they make changes.
Definitely. Cool, and I think that's it.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you do think of any questions or you have any burning questions after this webinar, feel free to reach out to Matt and I, or use the voip@softsoul.co.nz email address. We will upload this recording onto YouTube along with everything else, and there will be a VoIP update newsletter coming out tomorrow as well. It's in the final proofing stages at the moment. So thank you again for joining us.
Thanks everyone. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.